On this episode of Lapeef, Let's Talk.
If that makes sense.
Let me push back on that a little bit, Kay, because the context matters, right? So the context was it was my grandfather and my great grandfather. And when you go back to right, so when you go back into those times, and I understand you're bringing it current, but I'm just saying I use that as a reference point. When you go back in that, when you go back in that time, you know, and even when you go to, let's say if we go to some indigenous countries today.
Yeah,
those young men are going through rites of passage at 15, 14. You know, now. So that I would just add an additional context. That's all.
No, I agree with that. I knew exactly what you were saying. I just wanted to add that little, you know, piece in.
Yeah. So are you saying, Rilla, that because they're going through rites of passage, just like if they're 14 or 15, that makes them an adult?
So I think when we having this conversation around what determines somebody being an adult, I think it's relative.
Y'all looking lovely, man. Y'all looking good, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Fellas? You know, when I say that compliment, y'all supposed to be like right at
I said fellas.
It's such like a delay or something like that. I said you know, if y'all recognize it, but at least I recognize it. Okay. Gentlemen, I see you got the black hoodies on. I see.
All day with it.
Yeah.
Beef to the death, baby.
That's what I'm talking about. Really? What is that? Is that a Bulls?
Nope. HBCUC is Chicago State. You know the vibes.
Okay.
You know the come on. You know the vibes.
I don't know, man. Like I thought it might have been you know.
This really? That classic. This that classic. Nah, you ain't send me the text, Court. This
I
that classic.
Should have. I'm sorry, y'all.
Classic.
JR, you gotta switch me and Rilla.
Uh-oh.
What? Well, already?
Yeah, HBCUC.
No, it's just I just like my view going that way because my monitor is this way. So that's all.
What?
Anyhow, welcome to Lapeef Let's Talk. If you guys are just tuning in, welcome to the show. Make sure you guys get them likes up. Also, make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're gonna move right into our first topic of the night, which is: does age determine adulthood? Does age determine adulthood? Start with you, Courtney. What are your thoughts about that?
Oh, all right. I'm going to say negative. It does not determine adulthood. Once you turn 18, you're legal. Once you turn 21, you're able to drink. So those age is just, what makes you, legal. But it doesn't make an adult. I think what makes you an adult is having responsibilities, psychologically, understanding what being mature is and being out on your own. So that's being an adult. Adult is adulting, paying bills, getting out your mom and them house, having a legit job and taking care of yourself. So that's what an adult is. It's responsibilities. It's being mature. It's being accountable for the things that you do and understanding consequences of the things that happen if you do or don't do certain things. So that's what makes you an adult, not age.
Okay, gotcha. Rilla, does age determine adulthood? Does age determine adulthood?
Yeah, I agree with Coy. Absolutely not. And when I think about this question, I think about, you think about millennials and Generation Z, and the studies that talk about how much longer kids are staying at home with their parents, right? So you got some kids staying at home till they're 26 and some 30, right? So that's where we get the phrase of, sitting in your mama basement, right? But then I think about like my granddad, my great granddad, and they had grown man responsibilities at 15, 16, some of them, 14, right? So, and it's just as times change. So I think even when I was growing up, like when I graduated high school, I couldn't wait to get out the house. I couldn't wait to just go figure the world out, find myself, and do what I need to do to become the man that I needed to be. And we don't see that same drive and passion in young bloods nowadays. It used to be like you would go to the military, or maybe you would, join the police force or a fire department or something like that. We just don't see that same drive. So I agree with you, Corey. Like age definitely doesn't determine adulthood.
All right, Reverend, what about you?
Well, first of all, I want to say thank you guys so much for having me. Usually I'm cropping myself in, so it feels kind of weird that I'm actually on the panel and I actually fit in the screen. So I want to say that first of all. But exactly, I made it. No, but does age determine adulthood? Absolutely not. And I definitely agree with both what Courtney said and what Rilla said, but kind of on the other side of the spectrum, because in my opinion, I think adulthood is equivalent to the kind of life experiences that you've had. So I think that sometimes you have some people who are like so much younger that have a higher level of maturity just because of maybe a harder life that they had or the experiences that they had. And then you have some grown people, like as she said before, who are definitely have never paid a bill, have never lived on their own, have never had to step up to the plate of any responsibility that they've had to take care of. So age, the number in adulthood, absolutely not.
Okay. Okay, what about you? Does age determine adulthood?
No, I agree with what Courtney, I agree, everyone just said. I know that there's legal age, where you're considered an adult, sorry. But definitely like you have to be at a certain place developmentally for me to be considered an adult. But like just on the other side, I know Chicago mentioned, I think somebody in his family that had adult responsibilities at a young age. I just wanted to like kind of touch on that because even if a child has adult responsibilities, they're still not an adult. They're still a child, right? Mm-hmm. So just I guess for people who are of legal adult age, you're not necessarily an adult in terms of development. But if you are a child, even if you have adult responsibilities, you're still not an adult. If that makes sense.
Let me push back on that a little bit, Kay, because the context matters, right? So the context was it was my grandfather and my great grandfather. And when you go back to right, so when you go back into those times, and I understand you're bringing it current, but I'm just saying I use that as a reference point. When you go back in that, when you go back in that time, and even when you go to, let's say if we go to some indigenous countries today. Yeah, those young men are going through rites of passage at 15, 14. Now. So that I would just add an additional context. That's all.
No, I agree with that. I knew exactly what you were saying. I just wanted to add that little, piece in.
Yeah. So are you saying, Rilla, that because they're going through rites of passage, just like if they're 14 or 15, that makes them an adult?
So I think when we having this conversation around what determines somebody being an adult, I think it's relative.